Well, good morning. Hi, this is Chris Conroy, EVP of National Accounts here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services, or IAMS. And I'm pleased to be hosting today's first webinar program in our four-part 2020 Wayfinding series in partnership with Fidelity and Guaranteed Life Insurance Company, which we know you're going to find to be a highly engaging conversation with industry leaders and recognized experts. And we're certain that you're going to find great insights and some tangible takeaways that you can incorporate into your practice so you can be better prepared in your relationships with your clients. Many of you on this webinar know this, but those who have not partnered with us know that IAMS has a deep-rooted commitment through its 34 years in business to delivering on one simple promise to our customers: to help you win by providing the tools and advice so that you can thrive. We're committed to winning your trust through industry excellence and leadership. This Wayfinding 2020 series with F&G Life will deliver on that promise. The promise that will help make you a better financial professional in your relationships with your clients. F&G Life has been a long-standing core partner of IAMS and with many of our advisors all around the country. They've had an incredible history of success, and 2020 is shaping up to be another unprecedented year for them with their outstanding products, service, and strategic direction. We're excited to partner with F&G in creating this exclusive Wayfinding series, which will feature top leaders, including Tom Hegna, Bill Cates, Sean Golhar, and today, F&G's president, Chris Blunt, with SVP of Distribution, Ron Barrett. This series will not disappoint you. I also want you to know that one core differentiator here about IAMS is that and how we're different than any of the other IMOs you might be doing business with is we're here to build your business and reach your fullest potential through a collaborative, comprehensive, and customized approach to your business. Whether it's our individualized market analysis program, our proactive industry-leading case support, or many of the incentive programs that we offer, know that each is uniquely tailored to your needs. Independent advisors are our customers. You are our customers. Today's format will be relatively straightforward. I'll cover some information about IAMS, and then I'll lead us through a conversation with Chris and Ron with some accompanying presentation slides. I'll pose a few questions and observations along the way, and I'll be offering to everyone on this program 2 polling questions to help make this interactive. So be on the lookout for those polling questions throughout the program. Please answer, and we'll get back to you after the program. If you should have a specific question, you can ask that in the chat box, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible after the program. Again, thank you for joining us today. And so now let me move into a little bit of conversation about IAMS. So for those new producers to IAMS who haven't done business with us, we have a great new producer builder program. For those who do business in the first 6 months, their business will count at these various levels, and we are eligible to earn some of these great marketing incentive programs. For example, just one case, $100,000, can earn a 1,500 piece postcard mailer, all the way up to, say, our $1 million level, where you could either select a core story brand builder and get published in major news outlets, or have preset annuity appointments, or 3 video, 3 consumer-facing brochures, and 3 custom articles. So we have a lot of different options there for our new producers that we work with, and this is a way to help build your business along the way. Next, really what's made IAMS who it is our commitment to service, our commitment to making sure your case, whether it's from submission all the way through to commission, is handled the right way with our dedicated and very experienced sales, operations, and follow-up team to make sure all of your business gets processed the right way, timely, and in order. And then last, you just want to put a plug in for our creative marketing solutions team. So we have a strong commitment to helping each of our advisors all around the country with their unique needs on a collaborative and highly customized basis. So whether you're looking for more traditional kind of print media things, whether it's newsletters, postcards, handout, or frankly, where a lot of our focus has been is online marketing through personalized websites, digital marketing strategies, email marketing. And today we have a lot of virtual preset appointment programs that are available to our advisors. So I'd encourage you to check that out. Reach out to your IAMS marketer here. We'll make sure we can get you that information you need so that you can be successful. So let's move on to today's program. Our first installment in the Wayfinding 2020 series is where we'll have a conversation with both Chris Blunt and Ron Barrett of why F&G, why do business with F&G, where they're headed strategically, and there's a great story you're going to hear about today. So I'm pleased to introduce each of them. Let me share a little bit of background on each of them before we move on to the program. So Chris Blunt, Chris is another, just top industry expert who's joined F&G in 2019 after 27 years in a variety of insurance, investment, and marketing roles. Most recently, he served as managing director and CEO of Blackstone Insurance Solutions. Prior to that, he served as president of New York Life Investments Group, as well as their co-president of the New York Life Insurance and Agency Group. He has numerous industry credentials, including CLU, CHFC, and CAP designation. Chris is also heavily involved in philanthropic work, including work with the American College, and he serves on the board of directors for the YMCA of Greater New York. And he's very passionate about the annuity business, so we appreciate that. Chris, welcome.
Great, thank you. Very, very happy to be here.
Well, yeah, let me just do a quick introduction of Ron, and then we'll move into today's program. But thank you, Chris, for joining us, and thank you for your time. Second, I'm pleased to introduce Ron Barrett. Ron is the SVP of Annuity Distribution, F&G Life. He has over 20 years extensive experience in the insurance and financial services industries, comprehensive background and knowledge, leadership, and vision in the annuity industry, working in many different distribution channels, including IMO, BD, retail, and institutional. Prior to F&G, Ron was a national sales director with the Nexus Group, president of his own consulting company, vice president of sales at Aviva, where Ron, you and I got to know each other as we worked together at Aviva, and also a divisional VP of sales at Allianz. He also has many industry credentials and endorsements, is heavily involved in and featured at a lot of industry events, and shares that same passion for the annuity industry that Chris does. Ron, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. It is a pleasure to be here today.
Well, let me move in then to today's program, and I'll just fast forward here to the first slide and the catchy branding. I like the F&G and the purple branding that you use. But Chris, let's just have a little conversation here about the strength and optimism and kind of where you see F&G headed.
Yeah, great. Happy to talk about that. And look, I think it's grounded in a few things. The first I would say, though, is it has to start with enthusiasm and optimism for the business. And I've said this over and over again. I don't think there's ever been a better time to do what we collectively do in our industry than right now. We're literally one of two industries in the United States that can use the G word. That is, we can guarantee outcomes for clients. Banks, as you know, can guarantee returns. They tend to be low, but insurance companies can guarantee protection. We can guarantee income for life, et cetera. So part of it is it's just grounded in it's a great business. Demographics are on our side. The demand for what we do is absolutely insatiable. So just a great time to be in our business. I think for F&G, it's been particularly satisfying. We're headed for what we think will be one of, if not our best year ever, despite the pandemic. So sales have been on a tear. As you see from the second quarter highlights, FIA sales up 18%. We've done a really good job on the operations side. It's mission critical for us. We've invested a ton of resources into new technology, new platforms, staff on the operations side. So I think one of the reasons that we're doing well is we've done a very good job, I think, of processing the business and servicing those agents and advisors working with us. We had capital coming into this scenario, and I think that's been a big differentiator amongst carriers is the strength of your capital position heading into this, crisis that we all went through. So our investment portfolios held up well. We knew we had capital. And so frankly, we didn't blink when perhaps some other competitors might have in terms of pulling back on new business, and so that has helped us. And then lastly, which I'll touch on later, is the acquisition by Fidelity National Financial, which has been terrific, but one immediate impact of that has been the fact that we were upgraded by the major rating agencies literally within hours of the closing of the transaction. So all in all, a lot of good momentum right now.
Yeah, I just added to that. I mean, kudos to all the success that you've had there. I think you might be, according, I was looking at the Wink report recently, you might be the only company in the top 10 on index annuity sales that was even positive. And so with the industry maybe negative 22 over same period, you guys are plus 18. So great work there. We're going to hear a little bit more how you did it, I think, today. But thank you for those comments. Let's move on to here to the next slide. So we saw that growth, year over year. What do you attribute a lot of that to? What's kind of the key drivers, you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. One, as you know, I think this has gone from being a bit of a niche product to just a core offering. And I think that's often missed in a lot of the press commentary is, is it about this feature or that feature? I think just the core value proposition, which periods like this just punctuate. People saying, look, I don't want to lock in a low rate of return, but I don't want to go back to the days of seeing 30% volatility, over and over again in my portfolio. I don't have the stomach for it, particularly as I get closer to retirement. So this idea of having some participation, but being able to guarantee that you will protect your principal, you won't see loss of principal due to market movement. It's just a huge value prop. I think for us specifically, it's what I referenced before, and I'll touch on this later, but our partnership with Blackstone is really, just incredible for us. I mean, they're the largest originator of debt in the world. And so they just see fixed income opportunities, particularly in the investment grade space, that other players don't see. And given that we're big enough to be relevant at 30 billion, but not so huge that we can't move the needle, being able to find those attractive pieces of debt to put in the portfolio gives us an investment edge, and that translates, frankly, into better features and benefits for clients and better returns. And so I think that's the sustainable piece that we're pretty excited about.
Yeah, I know talking with you and Ron both earlier this preparing for this is, some of it is just the consistency is, you were able to stay in there and be consistent with rates while others were scrambling. Some carriers really pulling back significantly. Number one company, for example, negative 50% year over year. So it kind of feels like you just had the vision to be there at the right time and capitalize on while others were pulling back. Let's move on to
but
Fidelity.
I would also say,
yeah, go ahead.
The only thing I'd say to that though too is right back at you though, because part of it is picking the right distribution partners, and we've known from the beginning we can't be all things to all people, and so being with top organizations like IAMS, who have a good strategy, a good value prop for advisors and agents, that's part of it too, because as you know, not everyone has fared equally during this period of time. So I appreciate it. I think, we've tried our best to be there consistently day in and day out, but part of it is a tribute to our distribution partners as well.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Well, let's move on to the acquisition. So just to kind of clear up things, let's tell us a little bit about Fidelity National and where you see things headed with them.
Yeah, so Fidelity National is the largest provider of title insurance in the country. I think I want to say like a 40% market share or so. Hugely successful company. I think started out, 20 plus years ago as literally a single title agency, and through acquisitions and foresightful technology investments and frankly just good execution have grown to the position that they're in today. They have proven to be, and it's early, but a just terrific parent company for us. So Bill Foley, who is the executive chairman of the company, was the co-chair of FGL when we were a separate publicly traded company. So they've been an investor of ours and a strategic partner. So not new to the FG story. Unlike most insurance companies that do better in a I'll say flat to rising rate environment. The title business, if you think about it, does really well in a low rate environment. So it provides a nice diversification benefit to us, and just the benefit of being part of a much larger company. You know, we were a $2.5 billion market cap company. F&F is a $10 billion market cap company. So it's just been a huge benefit to us of access to additional resources, access to capital if needed, and frankly, just, you know, some of the strategic benefits of the two companies being put together. So we're pretty excited about it, and as I said, so far the cultural fit's been absolutely terrific.
So this slide here, Chris, you know, the merger and how this all fits together. Maybe focus a little bit on Blackstone Insurance Solutions. That's where I know you came from as well. And you know, how is that an advantage, and how does that fit together with F&G?
Yeah, great question. And I think this is the real differentiator. So as you sit there and say, well, how do I pick a carrier, and how do I know that those that have been strong in the past are going to be the same partners going forward? I want to back up a bit and frame something for you. But, you know, as everybody knows, you've seen interest rates ground down in the fixed income markets. And so, you know, the good old days of buying an A-rated corporate bond and it paid, you know, 6% coupon, you know, life was pretty easy as an insurance company. Today, that same company might pay something in the twos or the low threes. The other thing that's happened is, particularly in a post-Dodd-Frank world, there's just less supply of fixed income relative to demand. So a typical public bond, which is what most insurance companies traffic in, you know, might come out and it might be 10 times oversubscribed. So as an insurer, you could do a lot of credit work and maybe you get a small sliver of what you really wanted. And if you're a small insurer, you may not have even got a phone call. You may not have even been on the investment bank's list. And so the partnership with Blackstone is huge from a couple of different directions. One, they're the largest payer of commissions on Wall Street, so they tend to get a lot of attention from the investment banks. So the issue of, you know, not getting allocated your fair share of a deal tends to be pretty low. But more importantly, they're involved in a lot of private debt transactions. So a senior financing that frankly isn't going through an investment bank, it isn't being syndicated, either because it's too small to be syndicated, it might be a complex deal where you need deep teams of credit analysts who can understand the security. And so that is really the competitive advantage, is their ability and their network to source investment grade debt that in some cases we may pick up 200 basis points of yield over what we might get in the commensurate public bond market. So even if you do that on 10% of your portfolio, you do the math, 200 basis points on 10%, you might pick up a 20 basis point yield advantage. It's really, really significant. And again, that means, you know, we can be just that much more competitive, less susceptible to the crazy volatility that you see in the public markets.
Right. Yeah. I mean, do you see that as a consistent competitive advantage going forward? I mean, I hear what you're saying, and Blackstone being one of the biggest and most sophisticated. Is that something going forward you feel like is sustainable?
Yeah, we do. And again, that gets to just the capacity of Blackstone to originate this type of debt. And so, you know, our balance sheet at 30 billion, you know, a couple $1 billion of really unique originations is a real needle mover for us. And that's different than for a company that might be 120 billion or 300 billion of assets under management. And that's why I think you're seeing, you know, firms that, particularly in the annuity space, that have this type of a partnership tend to be the ones that are gaining market share right now.
Beck, let me jump ahead here just to that investment advantage slide we're going to talk about. So that speaks to a lot of what you're sharing here with us, Chris. Anything more you'd want to add on the competitive advantage?
I think it's just the scale of the organization. So if you think about it, we have a relatively small team at F&G that's responsible for setting the asset allocation, the asset liability matching, the credit parameters around what we will and won't invest in. But then through Blackstone, we have access to, you know, hundreds of just some of the top credit analysts in the business. It's it's a team that candidly no insurance company could afford to hire directly. Just, favorite stat, I think last year Blackstone had something like 10,000 applications for 200 analyst positions out of college. So, I believe it is the premier investment organization on the planet. Their track record is long and quite impressive, and it all centers around, the founder's original mission, which is, rule number one, don't lose money. If you protect principal and then you do well in the good times, over long periods of time, you will do really, really well. So it's a unique structure, and it's one that we, again, think give us a real advantage over our peers.
Well, another positive development F&G's seen fairly recently is the ratings upgrade that just back in November. Talk to us a little bit about that and what you heard from rating agencies that prompted that move.
Yeah, this was really satisfying. So as some of you know, when you're going through an acquisition, you go have a sort of quiet conversation with the rating agency, so they're not surprised when it's announced. They had indicated after they had studied it that they were going to have a somewhat positive view, but you never know until it's actually announced. But, the day of the announcement, I think within 3 hours, we had been upgraded by 3 of the organizations. And I think there's a few things that they really liked. One, just more access to capital. When you're a $10 billion public company, it's easier to raise significant capital than when you're a $2.5 billion public company. They did buy into, I think, by and large, this diversification idea of that a title insurer would be a good parent for a company like an F&G. And then as part of this, we had some somewhat expensive capital that we were able to retire as part of the acquisition. So you put all those things together, it was a very positive outcome.
Yeah, very good. That exciting news. Obviously the A- gets you into the A category. So for many of the reps that we work with have supervised index annuity business, A- is usually kind of table stakes to play, and so that opens up a swath of, I think, distribution that F&G hasn't had for a while. So that's exciting news. Well, let's move on then a little bit. Just kind of closing your conversation here, Chris, is maybe talk a little bit about the team. You were touching on that, and maybe the importance of seeing distribution partners, and that includes IMOs and the producers out there. How you see that as part of the overall collaborative effort, and how you build products, and how you approach running the business.
Yeah, and to be honest, this was the great appeal for me to leave Blackstone and come to F&G, which is a difficult decision to make, but one, incredibly impressed by the team at F&G and the job that they've done over the years. And part of that is the deep collaboration with distribution. And that's literally been since the company's founding, long predates me. But, what may seem today somewhat common is something that we've been doing forever, which is joint product development with our distribution partners, incredibly strong relationships. I started my career as a financial advisor. And so, I've always had an affinity and a great reverence for what everybody does every day to make the rest of our jobs possible. And that was something that was just endemic to the culture of F&G, because that's a hard thing to teach. You either respect your distribution and view them as a partner, or you don't. And organizations that don't typically lose their way and typically are not very successful. So I'd say it's a great and deep team. We've added to it. We've hired over 100 people in the last 12 months. We will probably hire a similar number next year, and it's across the board. It's product people, it's in operations support, marketing support, technology. We've been making some very big technology investments with, one aim in mind, and that is just how do we make it easier for you to do business with us? How do we make it easier for your customers to do business with you? So yeah, really, really excited about where we sit right now, not just the sales trajectory and the relationships with organizations like yourselves, but it's the, I truly believe this indexed chassis is going to be the platform of the future. And there's just so many things that we can do with it. And I think we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, certainly. We expect a lot of product innovation in the index annuity space, and yeah, we're poised to take advantage of that. We're poised to be a great partner with firms like F&G, and we see you. We appreciate the commitment to the space. We appreciate the commitment to the IMO space in particular, and just like again looking at industry results for first half this year, you know, the IMO channel relative to other channels, direct to national BD, for example, or bank, was not nearly off as much percentage wise. And I think that's a commitment that you see from the IMO channel, the independent channel, and independent producers out there believe in the product and finding a fit for that where it's really ultimately meeting the client's needs. And so, not that we fully expect carriers are going to have distribution through other channels, but I guess it's refreshing to hear that commitment to the IMO channel as a big segment of where you see the future of F&G.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's not just the old saying, "Don't forget who brought you to the dance," right? And so, F&G would not be F&G without the independent channel of distribution, but it's terrific distribution. It's very relationship driven. It's reaching markets that some of those other distribution partners, frankly, just don't reach. And so it's highly strategic to us, and I suspect always will be.
Well, thanks, Chris. I'm going to transition over here and I'm going to launch a polling question for everyone. I appreciate your responding. So as you know, we're discussing with a lot of advisors how we can help you reach your needs and how we can better connect with the value of annuities for your clients that you're working with. We have our own proprietary IAMS annuity marketing kit, which features annuity basics guide, some slide presentations, shareable social posts, 2020 tax equivalent yields, client-friendly concept pages, and a lot of other things, templates and so forth. So if that's something you'd like, again, it's a free annuity marketing kit we put together and refreshed again this year. If you'd like that, go ahead and answer yes. We'd be happy to get that information back out to you. I'll close that poll. And then the other one I'm going to just launch here real quick is I kicked things off talking a little bit about our production incentives and our marketing, free customized marketing programs we offer, and a lot of the other tools and that are available here as a customer of IAMS. So if you're interested in any of that, whether it's incentive programs, a free market analysis program, or any other things, today, to go ahead and answer yes, and certainly we'll reach out to you and get that information back. So as I'm waiting for those responses to come in, I'm pleased to transition and move over to Ron. Ron Barrett's another industry expert who has really been one of the names in the industry when you think of fixed index annuities. And Ron, you've had a tenure at a lot of the leading companies, and are now SVP of annuity distribution F&G. And we're pleased to have you on cover a little bit today in short order. One of the accumulation focused products that you feature, and also a little bit about the deferred comp program. So Ron, you want to kick things off?
Yeah, great. Thank you, Chris. And I appreciate again the invitation to be on the call this morning with the agents and advisors that are joining us today. And as I think about the business, as we think about the business, there's probably three key things that we tend to focus on. And you heard Chris talk about the first one, and that's the people. I mean, as you know, as we know on this call, it's the people that make up the business. And that has always been front and center for us. And then the other two are really the programs and the product. So when we think about the programs, you'll find that the programs that we have at F&G have really been designed around the independent agent or advisor that we work with. Chris referenced this earlier. All of us on this call started at a retail level, so we've at least experienced at some level what it's like every day to be building your own business, to be prospecting, working with clients. So I'm going to touch on two key aspects of what we call, first of all, our Power Producer Program. And the Power Producer Program is really identified or designed to recognize those advisors that have decided to partner with us here at F&G. And so we recognize them in two distinct ways. One is the Deferred Compensation Program, Chris, and you can see here, this is an example of how substantial this deferred compensation program could be for an agent or advisor. And really what it recognizes and rewards is what I'll call consistency and persistency. And yes, I know there's a lot of numbers on this slide here, Chris, but what I'm going to recommend for the agents and advisors on this call is obviously when we finish up today, do me a favor, pick up the phone, call one of the marketers at IAMS, ask them to run you individual proposal. And really what this is speaking to here on this slide is if you're an agent with us or an advisor who consistently just writes, well, in this case, a minimum of $1.75 million in annuity premium over the next 7 years, this deferred compensation program that is funded by F&G has no direct impact on the commissions, obviously, that are being generated based on the individual sale, but it is a retirement program that we are funding on your behalf. And you can see in short 7 years, based on that consistency of 1.75 million, and then you being able to apply that over a period of time, we would have set aside on your behalf about $107,000. And that is basically a retirement program funded by F&G for your benefit. And what we talk about is, look, every single day you spend with clients helping them plan for and prepare for a successful financial retirement. This is just one example, this deferred compensation program, of how we as a company help you as an agent or advisor with us prepare for and plan for a successful financial retirement by writing your business with us. And we can provide additional detail, obviously, when you call your marketer at IAMS. Now, the second part of the program, Chris,
Yeah, I was
go
going to say,
ahead.
Ron, this is an exciting program. I mean, you're, I think, one of the only carriers maybe out there that offers a program like that, and you've offered it for many years. So that's really, I mean, is that right? Kind of feel like you're a differentiator in that regard.
I think that's fair. There have been other carriers over the years who have jumped in and out of these types of programs. We have found that, again, when we look at the consistency that we've been able to attain with some of our top advisors, this has been a differentiator and a strong reason why they see this long-term relationship. It's an investment in a long-term relationship, and that's how we've always viewed it, and that's how we've continued to push forward with this program. But I think you're right. I think the few that were out there that used to offer it maybe don't offer it anymore. So yes, it does differentiate probably our program offering compared to other carriers today. And it actually lines up nicely with some of the additional programs that you do there at IAMS. So it's a kind of a win-win for the agents on this call.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about the Power Producer Conference. That's another thing that F&G's had a long history of doing and on a consistent fashion.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We all work hard every single day doing what we do, and having the opportunity to come together with other top advisors, because that's the real purpose behind this program, is a chance, obviously, to recognize the success the advisors are having, but more importantly, time, dedicated time with other top advisors. I have an opportunity to spend a lot of time with our top agents and advisors. And the one thing that I've walked away with is they really want to hear from what other top advisors are doing, whether it's in their practices or whether it's how they're managing certain aspects of their business or even prospecting. So we get to double dip in this particular, opportunity here, which is we as F&G get to spend quality time with our top agents and advisors, obviously in a location that allows us to sit around and really get to know each other, hence the relationship side of the business. But then number two, most of our advisors afterwards speak to the fact that, they got to spend 4 or 5 days with 100 other top advisors around the country who we create opportunity to share openly about what they're doing, what's working, kind of a best practice. There's almost a due diligence feel to the conversation. So as you can see, we are continuing to push forward with our conference for next year. Obviously, we'll continue to monitor the environment with things going on around the marketplace and with COVID potentially. But as of now, you can see our For us, it's our top 100 writing agents who write a minimum of $4 million in annuity production. In addition to that, you can actually qualify based on annuity and life. So if you have interest in that, again, pick up the phone, call the marketers at IAMS. They can provide that detail.
Yeah, great program. And, we have our own incentive trip. Many of you know that, but I can get you information on that. So that business that you would write with F&G not only counts for their Power Producer Conference, but also the IAMS conference that's scheduled to be held in March 2021 in Puerto Vallarta. Let's move on then to the third P I know you were talking about, Ron, is product. So I know we're going to feature one product today, but what would you like to say?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. And at the end of the day, obviously, we have to make sure that we're providing good solutions for the clients that all of you work with on a daily basis. And accumulation protected growth is really what this comes down to, an opportunity to provide that layer of guaranteed protection that Chris talked about earlier, but the potential for upside opportunity. It's the core tenet, right, behind fixed indexed annuities. And so the product that we'll touch on quickly here, it's our newest offering, Chris, that we have here at F&G called the Flex Accumulator. And it really builds off of the base chassis of accumulation. For those of you who don't know, today we have one of the strongest selling pure accumulation products in the marketplace today. We took that chassis and actually built in, at no additional cost to the client, which means no fees, additional flexibility, hence the Flex Accumulator. And what it does is it leverages the accumulation chassis with diversification with different strategies. But what we're going to talk a little bit about, what I'll focus on just for the next couple of minutes, Chris, is the flexible liquidity and potentially death benefit option that's available on the Flex Accumulator. The next slide gives you a little bit of more detail. It's the specific, obviously, of how the product works. But I'll touch on a couple of core things that will be really important for those who are on the call here. Again, a great reason to call in and probably work a case with one of the marketers at IAMS so you can look at how it would work for the client. Predictable income. It is one of the few products in the marketplace today that will actually give the client a 10% partial free withdrawal based on initial premium. And that begins immediately. So I'll say it again only because it is really important and it is somewhat unique in the marketplace today, that this is one of those true short-term funding opportunities, if that's the case, for life insurance or long-term care. Maybe you're doing some kind of social security strategy with your client, but this provides for 10% partial free withdrawal based on initial premium, and that begins immediately for a client. And again, no additional cost. In addition to that, we have a death benefit multiplier on this particular product. It's 200% of interest credit applied to the death benefit. And that, again, is unique in the fact that there's no cost involved with that particular benefit on this particular product, because we know that especially in today's marketplace, clients have become more fee sensitive than ever, but yet they expect more. And so that's how I would view the Flex Accumulator. And you can see some of the additional details with the minimums and compensation. The one thing, as I mentioned earlier, Chris, is this is really built on an accumulation chassis with a lot of flexibility, liquidity, and death benefits for the client ultimately. It's important to be able to drive growth. And so we've got a couple of exclusive alternative index crediting strategies on this particular product. As you can see, we've got your traditional S&P. We've got the Trailblazer Barclays, which is best in class as of 2019. And then in addition to that, the brand new Morgan Stanley Dynamic Rotator. So what we found for most advisors that are currently writing this business with us is we've been told that it offers a great diversification strategy in an accumulation product like this, with that protected growth obviously built into it. So I think that's how I would kind of frame the product part of this. And why I focus on this particular product today, Chris, is it gives us the accumulation potential that we talked about earlier, enhanced flexibility for planning and liquidity and death, and no additional cost to the client, with the potential to have some of the strongest accumulation or upside in the marketplace today. Is there anything else additional there you'd like me to touch on, Chris? Otherwise, I'll just close with saying, look, we are excited about this partnership that we have with IAMS. We are in growth mode as an organization because of the work that our advisors are doing today, and obviously the solutions that we provide into the marketplace. But it comes down to three basic things for us: the people, which is the people at the company, the marketing organizations, and the agents. Obviously the programs, and we touched on quickly the deferred compensation and TRIP. And then when you look at the product offering, the solutions for your client, we found that we've got, in many cases, best in class for what you might be looking for. So Chris, I'll kick it back over to you. If there's additional questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Yeah, I don't have any additional questions on that product. Certainly reach out to your IAMS marketer here. We can get you more info on that product. But I would say, there's a lot of alignment between what I'm hearing from F&G and what we here at IAMS believe in going forward, which is growth. We're very growth oriented at this point. Our strategic goals are to grow our top line and bottom line, but our top line and do that through our strategic plan that we've laid out and believe in, which is serving independent producers. The second part, this is where a lot of commonality is: programs. So we're committed to offering new programs that are going to help our independent producers find more clients, make their life easier, ultimately reach their goals that you have. And then people. So we are investing. While I hear other IMOs are maybe laying off, furloughing people, we're actually hiring. Which is, in fact, there was a gentleman that was just in here a minute ago who is a new hire here on our annuity sales floor. So we actually have added people while some of our competitors maybe have pulled back. So we're very bullish about the future, and as a company, we certainly feel strong about where this industry is headed, and our partnership with F&G is as strong as ever. So with that, let me just wrap things up. And first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you all the advisors on this call for taking your time to hear more about the YF&G of the Wayfinding series. Thank you, Chris and Ron, for your time and answers and information about where F&G is headed. So we thank you very much. We also appreciate the generous sponsorship that F&G has provided for this Wayfinding 2020 series, which is going to also feature Barclays, Sean Goldhart, Tom Hegna, Bill Cates. You won't want to miss those webinars. I'm certain a lot of our attendees today picked up some insights and a better understanding where F&G fits in their quiver of annuity products to recommend it to your clients. Know we're committed to grow your sales with a collaborative and customized model to reach your fullest potential. And I'd encourage you also to reach out to your marketer here, 800-255-5055. Ask for more information. If you want more information about anything you heard today, F&G's corporate profile, product suite, how to get contracted, or more information about IAMS production builders, our marketing incentives, or to get a free customized market analysis report to see if your advertising is aligned up with where you're trying to reach your demographic, we can help you with that. So be on the lookout for the second program in this Wayfinding 2020 series. That's going to be a conversation with Sean Goldhart at Barclays. He's managing director, head of public policy research there, and it'll be very timely. It's October 8th at 10 a.m. Central, and he'll be providing an update on where he thinks the presidential election is headed. And real excited to see what he's going to say. A lot of prognostication out there, and it'll be part of a great series we continue to have here. So thank you for your partnership, and with that, we'll end today's program.